Hey guys, Sebious here with another Sebious Speaks, and today I'm going to be talking about The Purge by Anthony Reynolds. You might have to excuse I'm rocking the Jimbei today, so you're a little bit more chest and chest hair than you might be used to, but please bear with me. Got a bit of a chipper Japanese thing going on today. And some of the thumbnails for these videos have made it look like I've been doing E Honda's 1,000 hand slap. As you see, the video can't quite handle that, so yeah. Anyway, moving on to The Purge, which was the most recent limited edition Horus Heresy novella by Anthony Reynolds. We have the artwork here with Mr. Saul Talgron on there, and stretching out, having a look at we have the Imperial Palace and some custodies and iron fists and all the different banners and things going on there, and it's very, very pretty. As is the book itself. Not quite as, it's got a nice cover which isn't quite as, doesn't feel like it's sucking in all of your finger prints and fingertips and the big smudge of blood and stuff on there. And in the middle there's a a carving and names on the Preceptoria, and on the other side we have the perpetual spiral, talking about the tactic of the strategic garrison and honor guard duties for the word bearers, I believe. And opening up from that, we have this awesome map of the Percepton system. Here's the Percepton system, is it not? I do believe, or it's the planet in the Percepton system that the conflict is taking place with the word bearers and the Ultramarines. And inside we have the epic, obviously, wraparoundy cover there, showing all of that again in all its glory. All that keeps folding in. You can see the banners and stuff there. I kind of went into this a bit more detail when I did the first look when it arrived, but today I'm talking a bit more about the story itself. Let's make sure that's folded in nicely. I think it is. Very nice. So, what do I want to say about this book? This book was awesome. I really thoroughly enjoyed this. Anthony Reynolds did very well writing about word bearers in the word bearers kind of saga he did, and I really enjoyed those. And I believe we did a review, Marie and I, talking about those a while ago, which was awesome. And just the creepy coolness of the word bearers, as they're full kind of Chaos Space Marines at this point. At the moment, it's still rather early on in the heresy. Essentially, there's a dual narrative. It's all about Saul Talgron, this chap here, who is a word bearer. He is a word bearer. Unlike many other word bearers, he's not very zealous and religious and fervent in many ways. As usual, give you a bit of a warning. There's spoilers. I'm not going to quite go through every single moment like I did with Ravenlord, but I'm going to give you an overview, and there can be some spoilers. So I'm saying what's happening in the story and then talking about it. But again, it's not huge spoilers for the actual heresy itself, because as always, these novellas are an addition and sort of supplemental extra downloadable content to a certain extent to the heresy, just fleshing some bits out and giving you some more detail and different stories. So yeah, Saul Talgron here is a word bearer. As I said, he does come from Colchis. He survived the initial Isfan 3 purging, which the only reason I can imagine the reason he actually did survive would be because he, one, is a very good and very loyal soldier. He's a loyal son of Logar, even if he doesn't share his sort of predilections and fancies towards the Emperor, and then obviously the darker powers. And the fact that he is originally from Colchis, so he even he remembers the old religion, but it still doesn't mean anything to him. He is very much a cookie cutter, honourable soldier, all about doing what he's told and achieving the goals and achieving the mission for whoever is commanding him. So I was going to say for the good, but not really for the good if he's being controlled by Lorga. So we start off. The word bearers are, under the command of Saul Talgron, are taking the fight to the Percepton system, which is another part of the Ultramar system. It's another Calf type world burning, system burning situation, and I believe the actual main strike, the thrust of the first attack, is over within about 21, 22 minutes, I believe it is. But then there's a long time after where they're kind of mopping up and wiping out the Ultramarines. It's not really focused on the initial attack and the war. Kind of, we've already had that with Calth. We know how that kind of works. This is Saul Talgron. He has found a last kind of pocket of resistance. His scouts have noticed a craft trying to fly off invisibly to a secret kind of mountain communications bunker. Is all they presume that it could possibly be. All of Saul Talgron's warriors and advisors and things just want them to kind of blow it from orbit or launch stuff at it and just eradicate it and not bother taking the time to go there and deal with them themselves. But he's intrigued by what is there. I think there's a number of reasons why he's so intrigued at what is there. He wants to honour the soldiers. I think he obviously feels that this war is there is a wrongness to it. And the things that he's been made to do, kind of taking the fight to the Ultramarines, as much as the word bearers kind of hate the Ultramarines, the fighting against the Imperium and against Brother Marines has got to hurt. So as fellow warriors, he wants to give them the honour of a relatively honourable death by going and finding them and killing them himself and eradicating them. He takes a serious force of kind of breaching Marines, it's like the ship-to-ship fighting. Marines with the huge shields and thunderhammers takes them into the caves to take them on. Now, while all this is kind of being played out, we're also getting memories of Saul Talgron on the mission that he had previous to this, and that was he flies to Terra before the Isfahan 5 drop site massacre. And there he is met with a Custodes, who actually he befriends and becomes rather close with over his stay. And he has a serious kind of respect for him as a soldier and a fellow warrior. He is interviewed by the Primarch of the Imperial Fist, Dawn, with Garrow making a little kind of appearance, just sort of checking over his shoulder. Well, not over the shoulder of the Primarch, but just being there, just going to kind of meet him. And he's kind of a foreshadowing of there being a loyal member of a now disloyal legion, whereas Saul Talgron is a loyal member of a disloyal legion, but his loyalty only lies to his legion, not to the Emperor. And kind of he's basically bluffing and managing to lie to Dawn, just answering his questions in a way that makes it easy for him to pass himself off as being a loyalist, because at this point the word bearers are not known to be disloyal. And Dawn very much, he's, as we've seen in some other stories, when I talked about the Imperial Truth, there's the story The Emperor's Hands, where he basically just completely ignored the Custodes signing in, signing out of the palace to bring a whole plate over the palace, which is serious security breach and danger and stuff. And it just, Dawn at the moment is so consumed with fortifying the palace that everything else is a secondary priority to him. So he wants to believe because he believes the word bearers are true. He even talks about how they were too zealous and too much worshipping the Emperor before Monarchia, when they were laid low and made to kneel before the Ultramarines and the Emperor and be told, don't venerate me as a god because that's naughty. There's moments in Saul Talgron's even kind of sort of saying, but if I was bad, and just sort of having free reign, really bad things could happen. And it's like, yeah, that's fine. You word bearers, you're nice guys. We like you guys. The grey, we like the grey. You wear the grey, yeah. You're going to keep that lovely grey armour. You're not going to make it blood red and go bad at any point soon, are you? No, good. Fantastic. So what we're going to do, we've got the Crusader host here, kind of the representatives from all the different legions, and basically we had to lock them all up because there are kind of proven to be disloyal legions, and we have members of them. So they all went into kind of prison, as we saw in The Outcast Dead by Graham McNeill, which is a fantastic Horus Heresy novel, which you should check out, with some action on terror and seeing how kind of terrible, I'm sorry, terror actually is. Wow, on the scale of pun to awful, that was really bad. Terrible. I've kind of distracted myself with the awfulness of the things that came out of my own brain there. So basically, they've locked up all the Crusader host, but they're saying because the word bearers are so good and so nice and would never go evil, we're going to allow your word bearer to come, and we're going to sneak you in and sneak you out and make sure no one knows. We'll turn the cameras off and you can go and pick him up and take him home, and that'll be fun. You can go and do that. And also, by the way, let's tell you about the legions that are going to Isfahan 5 to take it to Horus, just so you know, you can be there and be a part of taking it to Horus, because that's what you want to do. So yeah, Tagron gets the word bearer, who turns out to be it was his sort of mentor and sort of tutor as he took up became an adept and joined the Space Marines. So they have quite a bond. Things seem good with the reuniting. It seems like things are going rather well, until they are now in the kind of nooks and crannies of forgotten part of the Imperial Palace, or on Terra. I don't think it's actually part of the palace. It must be in the palace. Yeah, it's a forgotten wing of the palace. Anyway, on Terra, and it has this very strange, very dangerous place. I don't know quite sure why they are there, but it seems in sort of caskets and tubing and protective, warded, sealed pods, there are the ancient psychers that have been taken from the mountain, that feed the Astronomicon, because they've become so old and so kind of fragile, and their power is so immense that they are just too volatile and dangerous to be anywhere else, and essentially have been turned into giant, very dangerous batteries in a forgotten wing of the palace, as you do. And here it is received that Juralek, who is one of the large characters, at least in the first book of the Wordbearer series, he is a new Dark Apostle in this story, but he is a Dark Apostle that survives even to the 41st century, which is quite interesting. And I'm liking how people that have written 40k books, and then are now getting their chance to write some Horus Heresy books, are kind of porting their characters back, and it's really interesting to see how 10 millennia has sort of changed people and how people were 10 millennia before. But Juralek is still evil, maniacal son of a bitch. Being an evil, maniacal son of a bitch is a prerequisite for being a Dark Apostle. I think we know that. Erebus is the epitome of an evil, conniving son of a bitch. But he's brilliant in his own way. But because I am a heretic after all. So Juralek, lovely man that he is, he has decided that what they're going to do is perform a dark and heinous ritual upon the mentor of Sol Tagron. Rather than liberating him, they're going to literally cut his heart out, torture him, put in a demon seed, kind of demon-let like little thing, replacing his heart and putting his heart in a jar, which still beats because the demon thing is kind of creating a kind of link between the body of him and the heart in a jar, which will be a very important detonator at a later point. So Dagon feels bad about what he's doing, but he's told he has to do it, so he does it. He doesn't want him to suffer, he just wants to kill him, but that's not the way. He has to be made to suffer because we know that's how chaos magic works. Suffering, betrayal, evil, torture, these are all things that add juice to chaotic badness or goodness, depending on the way you look at it. And they toss the they sew him up, they open his eyes, and they toss him down into another nook and cranny by the psychopods, where he is kind of buried by a small avalanche of rubble, and will just be there, eyes sewn open, unable to move because his spinal cord has been severed, and will just be waiting until a later time when you imagine the word bearers are kind of going to smash the heart and blow him up, blowing up the psychers, creating a very big bad boom in the Imperial Palace, which will be fun. So cut back to him heading to take the back in the present, taking on the Ultramarines. Actually, one more thing that needs to be added. When he's being grilled by Dawn, one of his excuses, he's come to deal with the comet. I can't remember. I think it's the Empress comet that comes round on an orbit and is kind of been carved into a whole. It was carved into a whole kind of chapel and dedication to veneration of the Emperor. And his excuse is he's gone there to remove a few knickknacks and things that were more godly of the Emperor from the old Wordbearer days. But what we're given the impression is actually he's rigged that to blow as well. So he is an epic kind of undercover saboteur for the Wordbearers. The comet also, some of the things they've mentioned about how often it comes round and how the odd orbits change. I believe it's Halley's comet, which was visible going back a few years now. But yeah, so that's, I think they do love to port real life and real sort of things into 40k and the Heresy, and it's something I love, and it's very interesting. Little caveat there that I think it was the Halley's comet. Correct me if I'm wrong, but yeah, a little comment there, a little bit of information. So. We also have a chapter where we see a bunch of Ultramarines that all have been given the Mark of Censure, which is the red helm, before the red helm became a mark of actual of standing and stature, before it became the kind of captain symbol. And these are all feeling very bad, very embarrassed, and they're kind of been given what seems to be a suicide mission. We don't know what the mission is, but they're given a suicide mission, and they're all rather grumbly about it, but also looking forward to kind of getting a chance to regain a little bit of honour or die, so the shame will go away. So, Sortagron, his epic kind of boarding party with the shields are coming into this bunker, and they are confronted by this unit of censured Ultramarines, and the battle is rather immense. The Wordbearers form an epic kind of shield phalanx, and they seem to be holding wonderfully until kind of there's psychic power. There's a librarian. No, belay that. That's not. Ignore that. And until a Contemptor dreadnought with the red mark of censure, a censured dreadnought, which is just an awesome concept, comes in and starts destroying, laying waste to absolutely everything, and being a bad motherfracker. The fighting is just epic. It's frenetic. You feel the close confines. You feel the tactics working and then not working, and just the immediacy of it. And that's great. I really enjoyed that. They're kind of essentially whittling each other down because the Ultramarines were being kind of decimated by this hardy phalanx formation until the Contemptor just sort of strides out of the shadows like a beast and just starts tearing them to pieces until there are very few of them left. At which point the former librarian dives into the next room and is communicating with a ship that is in orbit still around the planet. It's been taken out, it's completely powered down so it's not been detected, but it's taken a lot of damage and it really is on its way out. But they have this one large ditch plan to kind of take out some of the Wordbearers and kind of retaliate in a way they can. And I've literally got geek bumps kind of just thinking about what they do, because it's a very Imperial decision. It's a very un-Ultramarines decision, and it's kind of crazy. But at the last moment, the Contemptor Dreadnought is finally kind of pinned down by the Terminators that have shown up, and they're kind of holding it down and cutting its arms and legs off so it can't finally attack, where before it was just pounding the Terminators to pieces. This is the Contemptor Dreadnought in utter contempt, being a bad machine, but in an awesome way. So Dragon is nearly there. is nearly out the former librarian and their communications, and the librarian makes the communication with the ship, and what the ship is going to be doing is using this last communication bunker as a point of focus so they can drop bombs on the planet. And we're not talking any kind of bomb. We're talking the ice, fire, like death from above. One of the unforgivable, do not use this bomb unless of exterminatus. This is the one that kind of sets the entire air on fire, the whole life killer, boom, every organic matter just disintegrates and then explodes in a great ball of flame. That's what they're going to do to the planet. Basically what happened to Isfahan 3. That's a bold move. It's a seriously bold and serious move for the Ultramarines, because that's how they feel. They want to, like, their world is lost. The battle is lost. The people are lost. They want to kill some word bearers before they die, and that's just amazing. The librarian kind of talks to the captain, like he knows the Contemptor's down, and between them they kind of like here, be damned. I'm about to die. We're all about to die. Time to get the powers out, just so we got enough time for these bombs to be dropped. So he goes out in a blaze of empiric flaming glory with jets of laser flame bursting from his eyes and doing more librarian epic stuff, which actually amuses the word bearers greatly, because Sol Tarkon says, you do realize now that, like, you were marked for censure? Now you're damned. The Emperor said don't do that. You were a traitor like me now. Which he kind of says, no way, ain't got time for that. Have some fire. He does have enough time, and the bombs are dropping. Bombs tearing great mountains of fire all over the place. Like, everyone's getting burnt to a crisp. No one's getting out of this. Until Juralek kind of decides that he wants to vanish himself from here, to teleport himself out, but then sends a Thunderhawk to pick up Sol Talgron and a few of his veterans who are kind of just literally burnt to a crisp, destroyed, begging not to be made into dreadnoughts, essentially, very much on the verge of death. And the person charged, the Terminator that is charged with picking up these survivors just before the entire planet burns to a crisp, is Kolbadar. Kolbadar. That sounds quite fun to say. Kolbadar, who is one of the major characters and features in the Word Bearers saga by Anthony Reynolds, which is kind of awesome. It is not major, just a little focus of him. It's like, oh, I've seen him before. So that was kind of awesome. And Sortagon's wounds are fatal. He's unable to be saved by the Apothecarian, but Juralek steps in with his dark apostly ways and lays dark hands upon his body and manages to save his life. And we finally see Sol Talgron, the stiff upper lip of the Space Marines, a stalwart and loyal, good soldier for the Word Bearers, who does no time for the religion and madness of chaos, now stood looking out into the warp, kind of pondering the deeper mysteries of the warp, with the Book of Lorgar on his hip, now brought back into the faith and ready to be a full-on word-bearer Chaos Space Marine. And I gotta say, I really thoroughly enjoyed this book. It was really fun. It's just split between the events as they unfold in the present and the episodic kind of recollections of his time on Terra and the experiences with his mentor and Juralek. And it's great. It's creepy Space Marine, Chaos Space Marines as they're supposed to be, and Space Marines in their epic hoo-ha, oorah, doing their thing. And it's just written really well. If you're a Wordbearer fan, if you're a Chaos Space Marine fan, or a Horus Heresy fan, I recommend trying to track this down. I know they were only released for a certain point, and there were only like 3,000 of them, but they always appear on eBay at some point, and there's always the Black Library Vault. They sometimes re-release them for another limited period. But I am Darth Sebious. This is another Sebious Speaks, talking about The Purge by Anthony Reynolds for Allies Index, a place for all things geeky gaming. That's alliesindex.com. Come and check us out. That's our Tumblr. We're also on YouTube and Facebook and other places, but it's best to get hold of us on Tumblr, because that's kind of our base, and everything kind of spreads out from there. And we have all sorts of things, book reviews like this, video games, tabletop, role-playing, video games, card games, all that sorts of stuff. If you want to check that out, come see us. And if you want to share your stuff with us, that'd be amazing. So we're all about sharing in the joy and giving people a place to have a voice and share goodness about geeky gaming. So yeah, a little bit too much chest there. Excuse the gym buy. I'm just really enjoying this. I just got it yesterday, and I kind of just rocking it today. And I'm doing a few videos, so you'll see me in this in a few videos. So I apologise about all of this stuff going on. But again, I'm Sebious for Alloys Index, and I'll catch you guys soon. Tally bye.